And this brings us to our next series. We got Denmark against Austria, the last chance group for the European qualifier. So in case that you have missed it, we had 4 groups, 16 teams in total that were playing to qualify for the next stage, which is an 8-team group with a full round robin. There we're going to determine the final 4 teams that come to the offline event in Berlin. So it's a really, really big qualifier. But we already said right from the start that in the 4 groups, if there is any kind of problem, if a team has to withdraw from the tournament, then we would take the 3rd places out of each group and they would fight it out for that spot. That's the main reason why we actually played all of those groups out, fully out in the first place. And that situation has actually happened. So the Russian team, some of their players cannot come. It's connected to the military service. They can't get a visa because of that. And that means that they are not attending the event. So they talked to us right from the beginning, by the way. So this was already clear as a potential problem before they entered. The same was also true for the Ukrainians and some other teams. And they've been really open to us. So we just told them, you can play this out, inform us once you have news. After the first round of the qualifiers has ended, they said, yeah, we won't be able to attend. So this is the slot that it gets now played out. So one of the first seeds in the group wasn't able to make it into the top 8, and therefore we're now determining between the 4 third places in the group who gets that slot. That's pretty much what's happening here. So now we got Austria against Denmark. Denmark already has played one of the best of 3 series and they were able to win their match. So they won against Czechia, which means that this is now a pretty important match for them. If they are able to win this one, it doesn't guarantee them the first seed that they would need to take that that open spot, but it would be a pretty good move. Now, as I already highlighted, we have an offline event coming up. It's happening in Berlin on the 10th and 11th of June, and you can find more information if you're watching this on YouTube in the description of the video. There's a couple of links that you can browse through. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be 2 days of Heroes of the Storm. All of this is taking place in Berlin, in the middle of Berlin, by the way, in the Experian, which is an awesome venue right on the Alexanderplatz, which is extremely central. If you want, you can also find a link in the description to the Experian so that you get a bit of an idea of events that they've hosted in the past. You can take a look at the venue there, and you can also, for example, follow their social media and see what else they're doing. But super happy to be partnered with them. And again, if you want to stop by, there's no entrance fee, there's no tickets or anything, so you can just come, and there's going to be quite a lot of people. I'm super happy, honestly, about all of the feedback that we already got. People that booked their hotels, booked their flights, booked their trains, and have been talking about how they can maybe go car sharing and whatever else. It's going to be really cool. But as we're heading in, we obviously still have some teams that want to have a shot at coming to the offline event and getting there. We have here in Battlefield of Eternity Crosby on Vala and apparently Baby Houdini on Hogger, whereas the Austrian team with Graza on Anduin, Edelchris on Liming, and Frops is playing Varian. So let's see what we're going to get from the budget Germans here today. We got the last band coming in, first and foremost. And I'm always making a little bit of fun about the Austrians and their dialect, but you know what? Who's really bad with the dialect? It's the Swiss. Jesus Christ. Always sounds like they have throat cancer or something. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, obviously it depends a little bit on where from Switzerland you're from. There's like different regions that have then different dialects, and also some of them speak French. But every single time I hear somebody from Switzerland try and speak German, they're always like... It's like they're trying to go for like some duck sounds or whatever. Horrible. If you've ever heard it, it's just crazy. So it's like nuts. Sorry to the guys from Switzerland, you speak like that. I'm just reporting on it. So yeah, don't shoot the messenger here. But that's how it sounds to the rest of the world. We got Chinatown on Uther and we got Stukov. So it seems like we're going to have an Uther main tank together with Stukov. So a lot of sustain to help Vala out. I expected an arrow build, which we could still get, but they might now also opt into an auto-attack style instead. Obviously, they have to be a little bit careful with Varian Liming on the other side. That's already a sniper comp from Austrian team that they're trying to execute here. With Sylvanas as a follow-up, that's actually a lot of damage there and also a lot of push power. Very aggressive composition that the Austrian team is currently fielding. So, okay. But either way, with that now, we got our final pick. The Danish team has obviously already shown their ambition to grab that slot. that the Russians gave up when they defeated Czechia, but now they come in with Maiev in an attempt to get a little bit closer to that goal. Battlefield of Eternity is our first map, so without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's Austria against Denmark. So here we have the Austrians on the left side with Frops on Varian, Edelchris on Liming, Grazo on Anduin, Musteka on Sylvanas, and Crayon is playing Malthael. Much better than Malthael playing with Crayons. That would be a little bit awkward from the Angel of Death. Denmark, on the other hand, with Chinatown and Uther on the right side. In red, we got the Soy Boy, aka Chiaseka on Stukov, Baby Houdini on Hogger, Crosby on Vala, and Bloodcool is playing Maiev. So, let's go. Arrow build indeed for Denmark with Vala, and Liming with the Force Armor on level 1. Alrighty. Let's see who's going to grab game number 1 here. Series number 1 ended with a victory for Denmark, so any win that they can get now would be huge for them. Absolutely huge. Top side, Vala playing it out together with Malthael against Hogger, who's a little bit outnumbered, but of course that also means that Denmark has a numbers advantage at the bottom of the map, and they're absolutely ruthlessly exploiting that. One tower gone, gate nearly destroyed, side wall open. Yeah, with the double support down here, have fun dealing with that sustain. It's not going to be that easy. If you look up at the top, not nearly as much success from the Austrian team over here. So, yeah, Frops gets attacked too, and this is getting a little bit rough here for Austria. They're having a tough time with this one. This is not looking too good. They're losing way too much here. Now, it would be one thing if they could at least get some counter pressure going up at the top lane, but that's not happening either. So now a camp has even been claimed by Maiev, and if this continues, they're going to lose a fort here. They're finally rotating Vala down, but just look at the difference. One tower and half of the gate has been destroyed, and at the bottom of the map, we're already talking about a fort that's taking damage as the camp is pushing in. So with Sylvanas appearing, there's at least parity in numbers, but holy hell, that's just nasty. And Vala is stacking too, so she's currently sitting at 6 stacks. Not too bad this early in the game. We even haven't seen Immortal yet. Varian running out of mana, there's another tether, another couple of shots being fired, and they're being pushed back even further. So with half of the hit points on the bottom fort gone, the Austrian team is struggling for sure. Definitely having a little bit of a tough time right here. Now, up at the top, we currently have also the Hoggers Joggers. We got the On the Prowl, Vala on with a repeating arrow. I mean, duh. I still remember that we had one of the tournaments in Asia where Vala went for an arrow build and didn't take the level 4 talent. That triggered me from start to finish. I, to the day, believe it was a misclick. I cannot for a second believe there was anything else. But from that point on, it really looked like Vala was just throwing a dice every single time she got access to a new talent and just picked something randomly, because the entire build made no sense. Even if you assumed that it was a misclick at either the level 1 or the level 4, it was just so incoherent. It was just crazy. Maybe there was some weird thing where they always had to take a shot when they lost a hero and then they were just like plain drunk, but sometimes builds are interesting. Would have been nice for Blizzard to give a grace period at some point where if you mispick a talent, you can then, I don't know, you have like 10 seconds or whatever to change it, something like that. But yeah. Either way, so we got the taunt in on level 4 now. This is where the party really starts for our boy Varian. And of course, with the help of Stukov, you really want to make sure that, sorry, not of Stukov, with Anduin and Malthael, and then also the burst damage from Liming, you want to make sure that you get those quick kills in. On the other hand, Uther, Stukov are going to try their best to make that, to negate that as quickly as they can. If they go for the Divine Shield as well, then Uther could always go for the panic button here. Chinatown and Soyboy, by the way, the amount of pleb mounts that we're seeing in this game is honestly disheartening. That's a really big problem. And another problem is that Varian is now down, so Vala is just using him as a bit of a pincushion. Arrow after arrow is coming in and is taking him down, so those are some quick kills that we got over there. Yeah, that's the first kill in the game, and the party continues. So they're starting to make their next move, as Vala is already on the Immortal on the blue team. Now, obviously, she doesn't have her level 7 yet, but it's slowly getting there. And once she has access to level 7, things are escalating even more. Li Ming dying, so that's the second kill. There's level 7 during Immortal number 1. So Crosby is now speeding up his Immortal control a lot further. And Denmark, yeah, they're looking strong. More and more, it looks like Denmark is one of the favorites to emerge out of this group, of course. Now, the team that is still missing here, which also had a very, very good showing in their group, is Finland. Finland hasn't played yet either. And it's kind of noteworthy that Finland played in the same group as Russia, the team that had to withdraw. So maybe they are going to be the ones to challenge Denmark here. Maybe it's the Austrians. Maybe they're going to turn it around as the game continues. But at least here in the early game, it's clearly Denmark who's running the show. Not only do they take a big Immortal, but they also damage both of the forts before we even got to that point. And they have 2 kills to 0. So the first fort is going to fall there 100%. And Hogger might be able to do some work up at the top as he's now fighting it out with Malthael. But the real party down at the bottom of the map as Vala stacks more and more. But Maiev going a bit too deep and getting punished for it right away. Vala nearly dead. Uther about to fall. Nicely done. Edelchris getting the resets. And then just ruthlessly going for kill after kill. Getting the big double. And that's all that they needed. Vala still has to be a little bit careful, but Crosby obviously already tapped the fountain. 1 fort gone down here, some work still being done by the Immortal, but at least the worst has been avoided by Team Austria. So a nice showing from the Austrian team. The blue team definitely reporting in for duty, able to negate the advantage a bit. Same experience now, same kill count. They're still struggling on structures, but overall, that was a really nice move to slowly get back into the game for them. So, job well done. Now, Hogger still poking it out down at the bottom. Crosby, he's taken another camp with Vala. And he's, of course, going to try and get a few more hits in. There's one, and, well, that's the end. That's the problem when you get taunted. Yeah. Nice follow-up, though. Edelchris with a couple of really nice moves. So 1-2 comp immediately using Calamity to get the reset. Vala dead, level 10 in their hands. And that will hopefully teach Crosby that he can't be out that far or has to vault away a little bit faster. But it's not quite over yet because that battle still continues. They're totally willing to take that 4 versus 4 since Sylvanas at the bottom of the map. Nice disc. Can they follow up? Well, they're trying and they get that kill and they get 2. They take Varian as well, so Li Ming and Varian get both punished for being so incredibly nasty to Vala. And they are also taking down Sylvanas because she didn't do anything about it. So yeah, the accomplice was taken down. 5 kills to 3, blow for blow. I like it. Good stuff so far. So the fort at the top now also gets destroyed. Austria suffering a bit and bad timing for them, obviously. This is not really the moment where you want something like this to happen because now they don't have a fountain any longer that they can retreat to when the fight for the objective breaks out. There's no talent advantage, on the other hand, for Denmark, so at least that's something they don't have to deal with. Vala is at 15 stacks now. We have her at 14,000 damage, but she's the one to just burn the Immortal to the ground within seconds, as you can see here. Half-time show victory is more or less inevitable. If Crosby unleashes another arrow, that's all that he needs to do. But they're already going for the fights, and Vala is able to also get a few more stacks in. Even coming in with a strafe to zone out Malthael here. Tether is in. Oh, and they tried with Anduin to get the light bomb engaged, but that didn't work, and Malthael is dead. Malthael is gone, and I think we might even see them destroy Varian here. They're trying, but they can't get close enough to him, as it seems. Hogger is trying to poke close, but can't. Crosby has to be careful, and they get the kill on Anduin with him now sitting on 20 stacks. So, here we are. An easy move for the Immortal. Gonna take this one out, and this is a big shield. It was already a problem when it was a huge shield on Immortal number 1. Now it's worse. So, yeah. 9 minutes in. Is this bad boy gonna slam hard? Nah, he's still gonna hit hard enough to get some work done. But he's not... Well, I actually don't... I don't know if they can get the keep. I really don't know if they can get the keep here. The shield is massive. And if they can use the level 13, they should be able to. But then again, at the same time, you have an Immortal that is still a bit on the squishy side. Despite the big shield. Now, with level 13 talents, that will likely change things. So let's see what they can do here. Currently, the move towards the top. And how far can they zone them away? A good lurking arm would do a lot here for them. If they have a good lurking arm to zone them back, then yeah. But look how quickly that shield disappears. So it's very early still. If they can get a kill, that's a whole different story. But right now, well, maybe here. They go for the tether, and there it is! Sylvana's dead, and all of a sudden we're talking about a completely different game, especially with the disconnecting. Perfect move by Maiev. And they try for a follow-up kill. They can't quite get it because Anduin ruins the day, but the keep is gone. With Sylvana's dead, and this being a 5 versus 4 with the talent advantage, no chance to save that keep. Beautiful kill, exactly what they needed. And now they can push this even further. Be more aggressive about it, and maybe even end the game if they can follow up with another kill. They're looking for it right now, and they're about to get it. Nicely done. The core is already losing HP. We got Sylvana's dead again. She came, she saw, she died again. Veni, Vidi, BG as the core falls, and Denmark takes game number 1 in under 11 minutes. Well played. Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Game number 2, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Austria against Denmark. Einmal mit Profis. Guys, I'm telling you, budget Germans, the Austrians, hosting the game, and I can see just before they start, I'm like, wait a second. That's the wrong sides here. This is not... No. Denmark is not on the left. They are on the right. Keep the sides. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. So they switch over the sides. Forget, obviously, to switch who has first pick. And I'm just sitting there as they're starting the draft. And I'm like, this is wrong. I'm not doing an intro. And, of course, as the game starts, immediately they have to restart the lobby because they're realizing that it's the wrong thing. But, yeah, there we go. Alright. So now we're here. Now everything is working. We got Denmark versus Austria. But off we go. Tomb of the Spider Queen map has been chosen by the Danes. And now we get Diablo banned quickly. Obviously, the 10 heroes that have been played on the first map cannot be played again. Again, it's that little hybrid rule that we put in on the Nations Cup to make things a bit more interesting. So, this is, again, the tournament that we have right now in Berlin is something that is meant to be a little bit different. That's why we have the Nations Cup. That's why we have this rule adjustment. We still hope to also have a tournament at the end of the year, maybe again in Berlin. Maybe again in Miami, where we had the tournaments last year, where then we're going for, you know, like full just the best teams out of each region again. But we'll see if we can set this up. If you want to help us do these events, there is a crowdfunding for this event right now too. As you can imagine, hosting an offline tournament is insanely, or can be insanely expensive. And we have some private donors, big shout out to Kevin and Max in particular, who help with all of these. Heroes of the Storm fans that are just doing their best to keep the scene alive. But it goes a long way if you guys are helping out as well. The more the community is able to chip in for these, the better for us to host more events in the future, to make these events better on the production side. There's links in the description for the crowdfunding that you can check out. And yeah, I mean, alone, picking the venue alone was just crazy. I can talk about this a little bit, but we are partnering with the Experian right now, and I have nothing but good things to say about them. They've been a pleasure to work with so far, but when we were looking for budgets, we had literally venues that quoted us stuff like 150,000 for 3 days. So I was just like, the fuck is wrong with you? For that amount of money, I'm going to buy myself a venue a little bit outside of the city and like host. It's like crazy. It's absolutely insane. So some venues, depending on where you wanted to go for, was just insane. Where I was just like, what is wrong with you people? But just to give you a bit of an idea of what kind of budgets we are sometimes talking about, so chipping in on the crowdfunding, even if it's just a little bit, really helps. If every Heroes of the Storm fan chips in €1 or €2, we're going to be able to host more and more events offline, which is obviously what most people want. It's a chance, you know, to visit this, to talk to the players, see the players, talk to the casters. We've done it in the US, we've done it now in Europe, or we're doing it in Europe, and we are hoping to make this a more regular thing. But again, it's only possible with community support. It's just the truth of the matter. With Blizzard not giving a shit about the game anymore, that's just what it is. Okay, but either way, we got Blaze and Mephisto plus Alexstrasza now for our second game for the Austrian team. So Alexstrasza stitches his band. Yeah, it would have been nice to see that combo, but that of course was the inevitable conclusion after you're picking Alexstrasza and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Stitches is already a good pick here as is, and then together with her it's a little bit too much. So on the right side of the map, Jojo, Rega, Urel and Junkrat. Good interrupts here from Crosby, and he already showcased his Junkrat performance a bit earlier today with Johanna, adding the additional wave clear. Rega of course too. It's a really nice draft for them. Jojo, Urel, quite strong there. Now we got the final two picks on the left side. What are we doing with this one? Jimmy and Nubarak. Interesting to see Reina here. But of course with the Nubarak they now have a dive that can be followed up by Blaze. And then you have Mephisto for damage, you have Jimmy. Jimmy as a pick is still a little bit wild to me. I did not expect that, and I honestly don't really see the reason for that particular pick. But hey, let's see what they can pull off with him. We got Genji as the final pick now for Denmark, and well, that sets us off for the second game of the series. So everybody, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Austria against Denmark. Game number 2, Frobs on a Nubarak. We got Edelchris on Reina, Grazor on Alexstrasza, Musteka on Mephisto, and Crayon on Blaze. To the right side of the map, Chinatown playing for the Danish team with Johanna. We got Soyboy, aka Chiaseka on Rega, Baby Houdini on Urel, Crosby on Junkrat, and Bloodcool is playing Genji. Off we go. So, we got level 1 for Jimmy with the Exterminator, trying to take out the trash over here. As over on the right side, Rega still has to make his choice, but everybody else still going for more or less standard. And with that, we got the Austrian teams, the Austrian team trying to make it to game number 3. Victory would go a long way for them right now if they can take at least the map of Denmark, ideally of course too. That would be fantastic. So the reverse sweep incoming. That's the goal here at least. But let's see what Edelchris can do. The Jimmy pick surprised me a bit. Not gonna lie. Oh, Nubarak. Close. Yeah, Jimmy surprised me a little bit as a pick. I mean, if you want to have an auto attacker, there are still plenty of other options that would have been around here that I could have seen as an option for them. Maybe going, I don't know, into a Greymane. You could zip around with Tracer a little bit. There's just like so much to pick from at this point. But Jimmy is normally not taken just simply because he is easily killed if collapsed upon. It's just a little bit harder to keep him alive here despite his level 4. So we'll see if they can do anything about it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Not the choice that I expected. Either way, now down to the bottom of the map, our 1 versus 1 is established between Blaze and Urel. Camps are getting attacked too. Obviously, going into the Exterminator here also helps to take some of these camps. Maybe they can sneak a cheeky boss later. That could be one of the moves, but it's him trying to get the camp here. The problem is just simply that Greymane could have done the same for them, and he is struggling here. This is not going to happen. This is not happening. Yeah, he has to play around with that, but just simply running around the minions is not going to be a solution. So off we go. He's able to get the camp and not die in the process, but just imagine anybody, Urel for example, or Genji, just having a bit of a look what's happening over there. He would have been dead immediately. So now Nubarak is dead, talking about people dying. And I guess Mephisto is also not going to make it. Yeah, Genji just zipping through, getting the reset. Perfectly timed here. And they are attacking them even further. The wall already losing hit points quickly on the gate and the towers. Nicely done. And yeah, here we are. The Soy Boy with Rega rotating back out there. They only can just take this one out as well. Alright. So, I mean, with Jimmy we now have the level 4 talent, so that gives him a bit more survivability with the fight or flight. But, yeah. They have now a Fire Bat and a Marine, so could have maybe gone for a bit more of a StarCraft impact here, but didn't quite. But yeah. So, guys, talking about rabbit holes. You know, sometimes YouTube recommends you things. Usually I really hate the YouTube algorithm, by the way. Everybody talks always about, you know, all of these social media platforms, and YouTube in particular. They try to get you hooked to the platform, and they really try to just click through videos, and that the algorithm is so incredibly smart and recommends stuff. My algorithm is shit. My algorithm always recommends just crap to me that I'm not interested in the slightest. And it's fucking annoying because I'm usually hoping that there's something new that I can just watch. And I'm really oftentimes looking for like podcast stuff, and I find very, very few that I find very good. But every now and then there's a gem in there. It takes a year or two, and then YouTube always finds something. But I went down the weirdest rabbit hole ever, and now I all of a sudden want to buy something that I never thought would end up on any of my wish lists. YouTube started to recommend, actually on my phone, not even on my PC, on my phone. I get different recommendations there, even though it's the same account. I don't know why. It started to recommend me videos of knife reviews, pocket knife reviews. And all of a sudden, I know a lot about brands for knives like CVV and some others, and some of the knives that they have. And I was just like, huh, that's actually interesting. It's the weirdest rabbit hole that I've ever went down in my life, but now I want to buy myself a pocket knife. So it's a little bit wild. Yeah, so right now on the top of my list is the CVV Cogent, which is very interesting. So, yeah. Need a knife, but wasn't really something that I had on my list for 2023 that would be interesting in any way, shape or form. So yeah, sometimes YouTube is weird, and sometimes you end up going down weird rabbit holes, and this is definitely one of them. Not something I ever expected. Something that apparently Austria didn't expect it was such an early web beaver wave, because they are now losing ground all over the map. They've lost a fort in the middle, they're losing an enormous amount of hit points down at the bottom fort too. And this is only a 4-minute wave that we just executed here. So with 4 kills to 0, Austria apparently did not in the slightest expect such an aggressive Danish team here from the get-go. They've done a whole lot. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Up at the top, we now get Chinatown going up against Musteka. And yeah, that was a bit surprising. About as surprising as the YouTube recommendations were to me. But yeah, those everyday carry recommendations and then pocket knives and all of this other stuff, it's really an interesting world. A lot of it is just like crap, where you're like, well, yeah, but do I really need this? Do I really use this? And the answer is usually no. But it's a lot of cool gadgets that they have. So if you ever want to go down a weird rabbit hole, check out for some of this EDC stuff. It's it's something. Very weird, but also very interesting. Yeah, anyways. With that said and done, we got 10 on the board. I gotta say, the Danes are crushing this. There's no denying this. They have, with the first objective, not only accelerated the experience that they were gathering up, but now they are obviously also grabbing an early level 10 with a pretty big window until the blue team is able to catch up with them. So they have a level 10 advantage that allows them to invade the opponent's camp, push through the middle with a double camp, and this is not only going to destroy the wall on that keep, it could destroy the keep itself if they get kills with it. And just look how quickly they're making a move for Mephisto here. So this entire wall just gets absolutely murdered. It's getting a little bit crazy. This is getting a bit bonkers, honestly. I would have assumed them to sit here for even longer to push this through, but I guess they're using the opportunity to turn in the gems that they have, which I can honestly respect as a move. They know that they now have an enormous lead, but they also know that it can backfire quickly if they stay too long. Austria grabs level 10, kills 1 or 2 heroes, and then snowballs themselves. Because the one thing that the Austrians were able to at least do is keep their gems in play. So they have a full turn-in available. So it makes a whole lot of sense for Denmark to turn as many of their gems in as they possibly can, which they just did. And then now try to deny the full turn-in to the blue team. So level 10 abilities are there. That gives us the Hyperion Endurance of Hate. 1 fort is all that has been taken down, but the momentum is still swinging in favor of Denmark, and they are working on the second turn now. And Anubara gets zoned. Crayon gets the interrupt. Nice! That was an important one. But Baby Houdini is still going to be able to deliver those 16 that he's currently holding. That puts them in reach of another turn-in. But can Genji turn in here? They're still playing this out at the bottom of the map in an attempt to lock the kill in against Austria. can't quite now. Maybe they can sneak someone to the top. Cocoon, the engage being forced by Anubarak as they're turning it again. And the kill on Alexstrasza. Blown up by Junkrat, and now it's the end of Jimmy. Again, doesn't have an escape tool. Once that he is pushed behind the opponent's team, thanks to Junkrat, there's pretty much no chance for him to escape. Genji attack, but the Ancestral on point. Turn-in is happening. He's trying to get the kill on Mustega. Can't get it. Even the follow-up from Junkrat is failing them, but they get the turn-in. They still have all 5 heroes in play. About to get level 13, so that's another advantage that they're running here. The Danish team with some very good moves, but they haven't gotten another kill against Austria yet. And there's a lot of gems that the blue team is still holding. All I'm trying to say here is, despite the fact that the Austrian team is now going to lose a lot, as long as they don't lose their gems, there's always a chance for a comeback. If you don't lose the majority of your gems here, you can grab the same talent as your opponent, wait it out, play it passive pace, play it slow, and then turn in multiple times to try and turn it around. So, something that could work for them here. But for now, all of the forts get destroyed. That was inevitable. Once that we had the second turn happening, that was just the inevitable conclusion of that. Question is more so, what can be done beyond those forts? Can they do a little bit more? And it currently doesn't really seem like they can. It's 6 kills to 0, so the Austrian team hasn't gotten a single kill yet. But as I said, they have the chance to really bring this back if they can just sit tight, soak experience, not lose heroes, and then play around a double turn-in. So, off we go. They have 83. It's not, again, they lost some earlier, but... Oh, no! Not like this! Mephisto dead! No, he's down, and, well, they recovered most of the gems here, so they haven't lost them, but now they are going too far out. They lose Jimmy again. Rainer is gone. This was Jimmy. And now, of course, the mid lane is wide open. And Uburak needs to be very careful. No mana to escape here. They're diving in deep. Baby Houdini, maybe even a little bit too deep. The keep gets attacked. Ult dropped by Urel. The Space Goat still fighting it out with them. A 3-level advantage at this point in time for Denmark, as they are hoping to go 4-0 in the group. Things are just looking stellar now for the red team. And on top of this, they have 46 gems themselves. So not only did they deny even more gems to Austria, but they have 46 gems. They can work on the third turn, in which they currently do with Chinatown delivering here in the middle. But another camp about to be taken. They are just in full control here. 23,000 damage for Mephisto is just not enough on the blue team side. We got 36,000 for Junkrat alone, 30,000 for Genji. And Jimmy, for example, is sitting at 18k right now. That still puts him into the second highest damage position on the Austrian team. But look over to Johanna as a tank, who is at 15,000 herself, 14,000 for Urel. So they're trying to turn in here in the middle. But Chinatown is already in position for it, and to make matters worse, they have level 16 talents now. So, yeah, they got level 16. Here comes the attack. They go for Nubarak. Gets booped out of the fight by Junkrat. Might have saved the day for him, but the Riptire blows him up. Riptire, X-Strike. It's a double kill, and now they're bleeding gems. And they're bleeding a lot of them. Jimmy, the bite, the kill. They're trying to recover as much as they can here, but it only leads to another death. Alexstrasza is gone. That leaves Blaze as the sole survivor. He's also gonna die. 5-man team wipe. All the gems are lost. Every single one of them. The Austrian team has not turned in a single gem this game. Now we have Siege Giants at the bottom of the map just wrecking this wall. And this is just a total disaster. 13 kills to 0. We have them going for the boss as they're going for the turn-in. They're attacking on every single frontier right now. And they are 4 levels ahead. This is obviously going to be a double-pronged play where they're moving for boss and then for turn-in. And it should be the final nail in the coffin for the Austrian team. That fight was just too much for them to handle. 16 to 13 talent advantage, too big. 42,000 damage now for Junkrat, and they are timing it, as you can see. Crosby is coming in. He turns in. Bam. That is the Web Weavers. Boss is already taken, and now they can just go for gold. They can go through the top. They can go through the middle. It doesn't really matter at this point anymore. this is going to be, yeah, pretty stellar. So here we go. We got the push through the middle for Frops. And with level 16 talents, they are going for the top side keep. Denmark with a fantastic showing in this last chance qualifier. They're doing an absolutely incredible job. So shout out to the Danish team, doing all they can to lock in that last available slot here after Russia had to withdraw. And they have now a fantastic position to take that #1 seed in the group and advance to the final 8. The only team that can honestly challenge them at this point is Finland. Only team they haven't played yet. If the Finnish team is able to defeat them, and the group is still wide open, but at this point, Denmark is on their way to victory. They take down an Uberak, at least a kill against Genji, so at least it's not the perfect game here for the red team. But we'll see what they can pull off here as things continue. For now, it is a clear 2-0 victory for Denmark. They pull it off again. They already defeated Czechia. Now they're taking down Austria. And the final boss for them is the Finnish team that they will face off against next. Nicely done, GG, and well played as Denmark takes another W.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.